And the CEO of Vodacom, Shameel Joosub, who joins us this evening. Thank you very much for your time, Shameel. Now, it's been a rough year for everyone, but your revenue rose by 17%. Of course, your net profit, though, up only 2.1%. So no doubt that there were some suffocating factors in this period's performance.
I think, firstly, the 17%, of course, 6%. But as you say, it was a year that was characterized by a lot of different headwinds. Firstly, I think, we've had devaluations in Ethiopia and Egypt. We've had, raising fuel costs. We've had raising inflation across markets. And then, of course, we've had the power issues in South Africa. And then, of course, rising interest rates as well to what I would call pre-COVID levels. And then, of course, governments being under pressure. So we're looking for more taxes. So it's been a year of turmoil in a number of respects. But South Africa being a big part of our operation was, of course, under more pressure than usual because of load shedding.
And of course, you spent about 4 billion rand on batteries and generators and the like since 2020 to make sure that you can keep the business running as efficiently as it can, and then 300 million rand on diesel in this reporting year. How do you get out of this particular situation and, I suppose, creating a sustainable solution?
Well, I think really the first part is having available grid power is really important. If you don't, then you've got to go to self-generated power. Now, the problem with that is that we've got 15,000 sites. So, that makes it very, very difficult. I always say to people, think about your own situation and times that by 15,000. That's the situation that we find ourselves in currently. So we're adding a lot of batteries, inverters, generators, and so on to the site. We're still doing a lot of trials on solar to make sure that the solar business case can make sense. And then, of course, things like wind power and so on. So trying to do self-generation is one part. Of course, you've got to balance that against the theft of, you put a lot of solar panels, as the solar panels get stolen, against the space that's available on the site, because not all sites will have the requisite space available to put a lot of solar panels on. So that's an added complication. And then, of course, we've got the virtual wheeling project that we are trialing with Eskom that we think could be an exciting solution, not just for us, but for the broader business and, of course, for our own industry. And that's where we would generate power according to our consumption, basically contribute it to the grid, and then Eskom would pass us credits and deal with the municipalities in the background. So that's the project that we're on. And so, if we can pull that off, I think that will also help. That doesn't solve our power issues, but, if enough of us are contributing power to the grid, hopefully that can alleviate some of the pressures that we find ourselves under.
Is there a time frame for this project with Eskom, Shameel, of completion, or has that yet to be determined?
Well, we're waiting for Eskom to give the final go-ahead, and then, of course, that we start to implement it, because we also need to ensure that there's long-term commitments, because remember, you're going to go and sign up with the IPPs, and they want 15, 20-year commitments. So, I think that's going to be a key part. But, I would say, both to Eskom and government, this needs to be fast-tracked, because it will give business a route to help to contribute to solving the issue.
Yeah. Now, a few weeks ago, on social media and reports, Shameel, there was complaints of poor coverage. Of course, Vodacom did come out and say that the coverage is on par and of the sufficient standard. And of course, you've got about 94% coverage rate at the moment. How do you measure that coverage rate, and how much of that had to do with load shedding, if there were any major disruptions?
I think we like to operate, on a 99% plus availability. That's our normal standard. That's what we run our networks on across the continent. But load shedding has affected that, and it's anywhere between 94 and 97, depending on the level of load shedding. I think one of the points for us is certainty on the load shedding schedules, because then that gives us a better ability to plan and to make sure that we've got the requisite battery power and so on available. Of course, we also have the complexity of, as you're putting out more batteries onto sites, you're also having increased theft on the sites itself. So, we're taking measures like armed response, like hardening of the sites, and so on. But, the theft still occurs. So that's a real problem that we're also dealing with.
And then I see going forward, the company speaks about cost-cutting initiatives, that it looks to become a little bit more conservative when it comes to how it spends money and where it spends. And does that include cutting jobs, Shameel? Is this something that the business is looking at as it implements these initiatives?
No, I think we're trying to make sure that we can protect jobs. I think the big issue for us is making sure that we can optimize our spend. Basically, so example would be we've just set up a joint knock out of Cape Town. We're essentially looking after all our operations and all our different services, and that provides some synergies between the different markets, but also optimizing our capital spend. Now, of course, that doesn't get out by the decrease in the exchange rate that's happened of late. But those type of things. So trying to make sure you can build once and replicate, that you're taking out the duplication between the different networks and so on. So a number of different factors that we're looking at, and to try and optimize costs. What can we do better? Where can we share? So example, with generators, can we share with the other operators so that we can give customers an even better service? So these are some of the things. Of course, but some of it we also need government's help in terms of allowing us to cooperate more with our competitors in terms of some of the cost elements. And really the underlying part is to try and keep the lights on, so to speak, for our network so customers can still have that availability. One of the frustrations that you said earlier, people, complain about the network, but networks run on power, so they do need power as well.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for your insights. That is Shameel Joosub, Vodacom CEO, joining us this evening to speak about the company's results, but also just how they are navigating the Stage 6 South Africa that we currently live in. Here's a look at how your market